Today we are going to talk about my past, present, and future of books. So let's get into it right now. Recently, I finished a book called Devolution by Max Brooks. This book was recommended to me because I love cryptids, and it is a Bigfoot horror book, and it was done so well. It was awesome. Max Brooks also is the author that wrote World War Z, and I've honestly not read any of his other books, so I don't know too much about them. It takes place in this whole like little eco compound where all these people live up near Mount Rainier, and everything is like eco-friendly, solar panels, like it's very self-sufficient, but it's also like smart homes. So they need Wi-Fi to exist. At some point, Mount Rainier erupts and it cuts off their Wi-Fi and it cuts off their escape route out of there. They're safe where they are, but when this happens, they suddenly notice over a period of days, the creatures in the area start to disappear and the fruit on their trees start to disappear. And slowly but surely, they seem to notice a creature presence. And then eventually they find out there's a bunch of Bigfoots that are trying to survive in this same area that they are in. How will the Bigfoots survive? Well, they need to eat. It's a survival story of, will these humans become food for the Bigfoots, or will they fight back and survive? And how will they do it? And it was so good. It felt like if that was a real situation that happened, that seems like how it could go. It's pretty effed up, but it was absolutely fantastic. So if you like Bigfoot horror, this one was great. And the next thing that I finished recently was called The Puzzle Master by Danielle Trussoni. So when I picked up the book, I was immediately pulled into it. The book is like a whirlwind of strangeness and high stakes. I loved the whole world of like these esoteric puzzles, these weird creepy dolls. Creepy dolls freak me out, but there was weird creepy dolls in this, dream sequences, and like strange revelations. And it leads you down this weird rabbit hole. And it's about this character. And when he was younger, he was in high school and he was going to be a big football star. He had several different scholarships lined up for college. This big game that he was playing in, he gets tackled. And then he gets kind of like what is a traumatic brain injury, only it unlocks all these abilities in his mind where he can solve all these insane puzzles that people just can't do the way his mind works. And he has synesthesia too, where he sees like numbers and like different colors, and sounds have color and all that stuff. And he's like one of the most genius puzzle solving people in the world. So there's this lady at this women's prison that ends up reaching out to him. She's a psychiatrist for these prisoners, and she has this one woman. She won't communicate and doesn't really talk and doesn't want to open up, but the psychiatrist finds that this woman, she does all this dude's puzzles, because the guy went on and now he makes puzzles for the New York Times and has those in there, and she does all the puzzles, and that's like the one thing that's kind of brought her out and kind of saved her. And so she thinks that if he talks to this woman, that maybe that'll help, maybe she'll start communicating more and all that stuff. And as soon as they talk, it opens up a can of worms, of weird esoteric stuff and craziness, and it's so good. I loved it. I have a review of it on Goodreads too that I wrote. If you want to check that out, I have my Goodreads link down below. Shoot me a friend request. So currently I'm reading a book called LACUNA'S by Tim Meyer. It's about a weird, creepy town, weird, creepy townsfolk. I love stories like that. Time is weird there. Everyone in the town seems to have a different concept of when and when stuff is and whatnot. And people seem to go there and disappear. And then other people come looking for them, and then they get kind of trapped there. There's this mysterious clock tower. And when the clock tower, the bell tolls, really strange things happen as everyone kind of goes like zombies towards the clock tower, and then I don't know, the people who come there that aren't part of the town just basically black out and wake up later at a different time in town and try to figure what the crap is going on. So what happens is there's these two girls who go missing. They are going away to college and going to Georgetown. They never make it. They end up stopping at this town where there was an art festival happening. Then they disappear and no one hears from them for years later. The mom and the dad of these two girls, and these are two separate families, they get a text message from these girls, and then in the background is this big clock tower. And so they find out kind of the coordinates of where this came from. You know, they triangulate the phone signal and whatnot. And they go there to try and get their girls back or find them or see if it's someone messing with them or what. It's been 3 years, they're desperate. This is your family. Like, the chance that they could still be alive, they're holding on to those threads. And it's so freaking weird. I love it so far. It's been super fun. I'm about 160 pages in right now. Can't wait to see where it goes. Yeah, it's liminal. There's like weird dream sequences. The people of the town may have things living in them. Who knows? I don't want to say too much, but it's pretty great so far. This book just came out on August 8th, I think. I could be wrong about that date, but very recently. Okay, and then we have some other books that I picked up. This one, called The Reservoir, it's by David Duchovny. I literally got this because I saw it, and I saw that it said David Duchovny wrote it, and I was like, the David Duchovny? For reals? And so I was like, oh. And I was like, oh. That's just the flap, okay. And I was looking for a picture of him, right? And then I looked at the back flap and I'm like, no, all right. And so then I looked it up on the internet and I found out, yes, that is him. That is David Duchovny. He wrote this from the X-Files, the actor. And then I looked at the back of the book. There's this big stupid face. Wah, wah. I can't believe I didn't flip the book over. Whoops. Sometimes I do dumb things. It's cool. I didn't think his face would be on the back because most of the time, I don't know. Nope. Nobody's faces are on these other books. Anyway, let me tell you what this book is about. Let's have some story time instead. Here we go. The Reservoir follows an unexceptional man in an exceptional time. We see our present day pandemic world and New York City through the eyes of a former Wall Street veteran, Ridley, as he looks back upon his life in enforced quarantine solitude, wondering what it all means and who he really is. Sitting and brooding night after night, gazing out of his big picture window, high above the Central Park Reserve, Ridley spots a flashing light in an apartment across the park, as if a lonely quarantined person is signaling him in Morse code. His determination to find out who this mystery person is leads him on an epic quest that will ultimately tempt him with either delusional madness or the fulfillment of his own mythic fate. We accompany Ridley as he leaves the safety of his apartment to save the Fifth Avenue femme fatale and descends into a dangerous, increasingly surreal world of global conspiracies, madness, and sickness in this viral time. As Ridley's actions grow more and more uncharacteristic, he realizes the key to all of the mysteries of now and even all of history seem to lie deep beneath the freezing waters of the reservoir. Dun dun dun! So just a short little novella. I should be able to read this pretty quickly, and I do plan to read it soon. I'll let you know how it goes. The next book I got, because this is one of my favorites. I love her. I got the newest Darcy Coates, Dead of Winter, and I never read what they're about. I don't care. It's Darcy Coates. I have loved everything that she's written so far, so I'm super excited to read this. Dead of Winter. I mean, it's been really hot, so I might as well read about snow and cool off my brain or something. I don't know. Is that how it works? I don't think so. But let's tell you about this book. And if you haven't read Darcy Coates yet, and if you like thrillers and really addictive writing, she's awesome. All right, so let me tell you about Dead of Winter. When Krista joins a tour group heading deep into the Rocky Mountains, she's hopeful that this will be her chance to put the ghosts of her past to rest. But, there's always a big but, isn't there? When a bitterly cold snowstorm sweeps the region, the small group is forced to take shelter in an abandoned hunting cabin. Despite the uncomfortably claustrophobic quarters and rapidly dropping temperatures, Krista believes they'll be safe as they wait out the storm. I mean, what could go wrong, right? Ha! She couldn't be more wrong. Deep in the night, their tour guide goes missing, only to be discovered the following morning, his severed head impaled on a tree outside the cabin. Terrified and completely isolated by the storm, Krista finds herself trapped with 8 total strangers. One of them kills for sport, and they're far from finished. As the storm grows more and more dangerous, and the number of survivors dwindles, one by one, Krista must decide whom she can trust before this frozen mountain becomes her tomb. Well, I'm very excited to read that. I can't wait. Dead of Winter. Let's go. Let's be honest. I'm probably going to read this next. I got this other one because I've been trying to do at least one graphic novel a month. And I've heard nothing but glowing reviews of this, and that it's awesome and adorable and just magical and whimsical, and that is the Tea Dragon Society. Who's this by? Katie O'Neill. And I mean, it looks really cute. There's been a few people who I watched that have recommended this, and I'm super excited to get it. It's huge. It looks like a giant children's book, but I can't wait to read and be delighted by these lovely illustrations and the story. The Tea Dragon Society is a charming fairy tale about Greta, an adventurous blacksmith apprentice, and the people she meets as she becomes entwined in the enchanting world of the tea dragons. After discovering a lost tea dragon in the marketplace, Greta learns about the dying art form of tea dragon caretaking from the kind tea shop owners, Hezekiel and Eric, and she befriends them and their shy ward, Minette. Greta sees how the craft enriches their lives and eventually her own. Oh yeah, this is super cute. Alright, we have... Yeah, the illustrations are freaking cute. So I'm looking forward to that. I wanted to get this one for a while. So I got a lot of good things to read that I'm very excited about. Like, I'm super excited to read a book by David Duchovny. I love the X-Files and I loved him in Twin Peaks, and I think he's pretty awesome. Had no idea that he wrote books. Apparently he sings too, because I follow him on Instagram and it's like all these pictures of him on stage, and I was like, what? Who knew? Maybe you knew. I didn't know. And then I love Darcy Coates, so super stoked for that book. And I'm really excited for the Tea Dragon Society. I love just kind of cute and heartwarming, whimsical things on occasion. You know, I read a lot of dark, horror, evil crap. Sometimes it's nice to balance that out with something that's, you know, lighter and cheerful and beautiful. I mean, there's beauty in horror too, don't get me wrong, but sometimes I need something a little bit lighter just to lift the spirits and all that good stuff. So if you're a fan of videos where I talk about multiple things that I have read, the next video coming up will be about that. So stick around, check it out. And if you had fun hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff. And if you want a shirt, I'll put a link down below, and you can go get a shirt too. It's got a Mothman on it. Till next time.